Omer. Hello.
Hey,
Hey, mate. How are you doing? Thank you for joining.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Very good. Very good. Yeah, busy week, but yeah, just doing stuff.
Doing stuff. I'm also
Exactly.
doing stuff.
Good. Where are you right now? Are you still in New York? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn. I'm in Brooklyn. Um, yeah,
Nice.
I'm sitting in my apartment in Brooklyn in my little my corner office in my bedroom.
Perfect. That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thomas, welcome.
Hello.
Thomas, I don't know if you
Hey,
have met like Omer before.
No, I
I think
don't
we
think
have.
so. Nice meeting
Yeah.
you.
Nice to meet
Yeah,
you
so
too.
I used to work with Omer before at VMware on the
Hmm.
Knative project. Now he's at GitHub and he's doing some developer stuff. And you're doing AI stuff too, right?
Yeah, I'm working right now on I've been working on AI stuff for the past year, but I think I'm
Mhm.
about to make a move back into productivity. So like think
Perfect.
like issues, PRs, repos, that kind of thing.
Makes
Um,
sense.
so I will probably need to user interview some of you guys on a couple of
And
features.
100%. You
Yeah,
know where to find us.
I definitely.
Great. Let me just I think that we will just wait a bit for people to join. And in the meantime, I will share the documents that we usually use. Hey, Daniel.
Hey guys, sorry for the wait.
Oh, no worries. I'm sharing the meeting notes. Hi, Christian. Good to see you again.
Hi all.
Thank you for all the comments and all the you know,
Good.
all the contributions to the document. Yeah, amazing stuff. And I will probably, so folks, if you can add the link, sorry, your names into the document, into the meeting agenda. And what else? Yeah, that's good. And I have one a little bit urgent thing to do first before we jump into the other agenda items, which are like deliverables and stuff that we have been working on. But maybe we wait for another second to see if somebody else joined. Hi, Victor. To have you here too. Good. Yeah, so that's the working document. And I wanted to share another one that I don't know if everybody can join. Let me see, guys, if you can open that one. I will share my screen anyways. I think that we can get started. So Omer is joining for the first time. Omer, so basically what we do in these meetings is like we try to make progress with some deliverables that we are trying to set up. But we also do some CNCF stuff that we need to do just to make sure that other groups also understand what we are doing and all those things. So first, I joined a TOC update meeting the other day, which is the Technical Oversight Committee of the CNCF. This group is in charge of looking into all the working groups and all the advisory groups, like the tag app delivery where we belong. And they ask us to report like every month about like what the working group is doing, if we are making progress, who is joining the meetings, and all these kind of things. So I took kind of like the first step on adding kind of like some descriptions about what we are doing in the app development working group with the deliverables that we're working on and the ideas that that the group is kind of like managing in every meeting. I mentioned some of the companies that are joining. I don't think that that's super important right now, but I think it's good to just keep track around this. And if you cannot access this document, please, read the text that it's there and, send us suggestions via Slack or whatever, so we can add things here. The idea here is we can add as much as we want on the progress side of things, because the tag app delivery here will just filter all the content for the TOC meeting, right? Like they will present some of these things, the things that they think that it's relevant for the oversight committee. So, it's kind of interesting. I believe that we will start adding more and more on these documents, on these updates, the more we produce, but also the more we interact with projects like helping, projects that are trying to graduate or trying to go out of sandbox or even trying to enter into sandbox. I keep hearing that we will just start getting projects to present to this group because they need to in order to move on the graduation phases. So that's something I wanted to share. Also, it's a pain for this group always, like all the calendars and all the invites and all those things. And in this meeting, they informed me that we are moving everything to Google Calendar. So at some point, we should be able to get our own Google Calendar to register and get all the invites for all these meetings, which it has been a pain so far. Part of the reason why I think that people is not joining to these meetings is basically because it's very difficult to figure out where to get the invite and and just get a a reminder of when this meeting is happening. So any questions or suggestions for this? If not, we jump to discuss the document that we have been working on. Go for it.
Sorry, just one question. I'll try not to throw too much of a wrench in some of the stuff. I know y'all have been working on it. So is the idea that like we would like this group would become a sort of box for CNCF projects to have to check to get out of sandbox, or like what's the give me an understanding of like where this group fits into the wider sort of picture. And sorry if you said it already, I was like reviewing all these documents that just got thrown in, so sorry.
No worries.
I'm making you repeat yourself.
No, I think that it's part of the process. It's not for sandbox only, it's also for graduating, right? So for example, now the Dapper project is about to, like, it's applied for graduation, the same as Crossplane and some other projects. But in order to graduate, you actually need to present to a working group that it's related to your project. So you need to go there and present, and then the working group will probably advise the advisory group about the status of the project, the community, and all that stuff. So it's one more check into this process of graduation or getting out of sandbox or just going into incubation.
Gotcha. So this would be like another sort of box for developer facing
related
CNCF tools to check before they can graduate. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. In every phase, I think that the projects that are related to application development will reach out and say, hey, can we present to your group? And then we will just omit an opinion about it. It's more like advice than saying no or yes for graduation. Cool.
Yeah, this is not specific to the working group. It's more generically like the tag. So when you submit the project, then the tag that is closer to the project gets involved. And then within the tag, in this case, we have different working groups. So based on, like, if it's something oriented at developers, then it's us. If it's something more on the platform side, then would be the platforms working group. So it depends on the project. But it's part of the procedure I just shared also in the chat that the relevant tag will be involved in the process at some point.
Perfect.
Cool. Okay, so we're slotting into an existing process and we're adding basically a step to ensure that the developer persona is being effectively considered before graduating a project.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you can see kind of the description there in that link. Thank you for sharing, Thomas. Good stuff. Good. Any more questions on this topic? I don't think that there was anything else in the meeting that was super important besides like KubeCon updates and the plans from certain working groups to organize activities for KubeCon. But I think that those are like things that are being discussed right now more than concrete things that we need to act on, right? So yeah, if you're planning to go to KubeCon, just let us know so we can also include you in a group for coordinating these activities, maybe just meeting somewhere and then just having more focused discussions on different topics. But
Hey,
so far,
Mauricio.
nothing has been decided. Yeah.
One question around the KubeCon. So is there any plan, the TED application delivery group to showcase or promote that group, like using kiosk or some live talk in the main event?
Yes, that's a very good question. I think that there is a GitHub issue that I will try to find and share with you folks where this is actually being discussed. I think that we will have a booth in the project booth for the tag app delivery, and then we will have an agenda for the different working groups to present or to be around. I don't know if there are like going to be lightning talks about this specifically, right? Like about like the working group per se, but the tag app delivery probably will have something. And I'm really pushing for at least the tag app delivery update during the keynotes. They told me that we cannot record any videos because there are too many project update videos already. So it's like there will not be a video about the tag or the working groups, but there will be a section, I think, where the different tags will do an update, and that will include our working group and the progress.
Sounds good. Good to know.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that like, yeah, time and videos are getting more complicated with time. There are too many projects.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I shared the GitHub issue in the chat. Also, I'm adding a link that of a text that Robert shared in our Slack channel from the tag. Let's see. Yeah,
This is
asking
tag app
for
delivery.
yeah, but also there's a thread in our Slack channel asking for ideas, and also Robert is available for a call if we have some ideas on what to do at KubeCon, at the booth, for example, or some activities, then we can reach out and also add to this thread.
I think that for this specific topic and KubeCon specifically, I think that we are holding until we find out who got accepted for what and how many responsibilities each of the members will have. Because if we are all fully booked, I don't think there will be much room for doing things. But if we have a space, like if I don't get accepted at any presentation, we will have enough time to go to the booth and do all these things. But in any case, yeah, I mean, we have a larger group here. We tend to get like 5 to 8 people joining. So we can just distribute load between people who is going there. I'm curious, Christian, are you planning to go?
No, there's, as far as I know, no travel budget from SAP.
No travel budget?
The usual topic at corporates, right?
That's more than normal. Europe will be.
Europe might be an
next.
option. I have to ping the folks, yeah.
Perfect. That's good. I think that Thomas, you were saying that we should start document.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to take it now, but like just wanted to suggest maybe creating a GitHub issue where to gather ideas on even maybe a basic promo activity, since we have KubeCon North America, but also Kube Day India or KubeCon India.
Yeah.
So if we make, like we talked about, making some flyers or something like that, just to gather some ideas. So once we have the actual content ready, then maybe we can proceed with finalizing that promo activity.
Yeah, I remember that Sonali was talking about like she's going to KubeCon India, so she will be there. And I think that we need to actually use all these opportunities. I don't think that we have enough time for KubeCon China and Japan, which are happening kind of like in a couple of weeks. But for KubeCon North America and KubeCon India, we definitely, if we can have someone there representing the working group, that would be awesome.
So I got an idea. I actually go to the KubeCon China to present one of my talk. I definitely will promote this working group. Yeah, so
Perfect.
like we don't have not really 100%, but definitely worth sharing some ongoing process and our delivery stuff.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think that because we have 2 weeks for that, I think that that's kind of what I was trying to think about today, about concrete steps to move forward with the deliverables. So let me jump into that. Unless there is any other thing about the TOC update and the steering committee and all that stuff, we can just jump into a little bit deliverables, because I think we are like reaching a point where the content that we have here in this document, and this is probably new for Omer, and I don't know, Victor, if you're familiar with this, but if you can jump into that document, Omer, you will see that this is pretty much kind of like a live document that we're working on. And we have been working on this for, I don't know, maybe 5 weeks. Sorry, more than that, like 10 weeks, maybe a couple of months, 3 months.
After, I think the Devon Nexus.
Yeah. So it might be a little bit more,
well,
but
3
like
months
it's around
at least. Yes.
3 months at least. But like it was been interesting because we created the working group and we started actually setting this up as our first deliverable for KubeCon North America. It's kind of like the deadline. And what we have here, it's pretty much like trying to create a classification criteria for projects that are developer facing or developer related, and setting some filters to the CNCF landscape, because there are too many projects there. So we are looking into incubating and graduated projects. we have a way to basically define where the projects are and if they are like in scope or out of scope. And we are trying to create some sort of glossary and some sort of a set of terms that will be used in order to classify the projects that are like applying to that filter. My current thinking is that this is great, and I think that we have reached to a point where like the structure of this document can be mapped into GitHub in our GitHub organization here in our repository. So I started thinking that in order to not only promote more collaboration, but also keep track of who is contributing and changes and all that stuff, just to do this on GitHub now that the content is a little bit more stable. So Omer and Victor, please feel free to add your comments in here and just raise any concerns that you may have. But the core of this document, I think, is this page, which is like a classification criteria set of questions, basically. So this is just a set of filters for trying to figure out where each projects contribute to the developer inner or outer loop. And we're just trying to define that it's a little bit abstract right now, it's a little bit high level, but I think that even by just having these filters and trying to explain these projects under like answering these questions will make a lot of sense for a lot of people by raising awareness, but by promoting the projects, but also showing developers what these projects can do for them. And in order to test this classification criteria, basically we have chose like 10 different CNCF projects that match the incubating or graduated criteria. And then we're just trying to basically answer these questions and try to figure out if these questions are good for describing these projects. Again, I think that because this is maturing quite well, and I think that the next step is to have this in GitHub so we can actually share this, for example, with the Cloud Events team. So we can go to the Cloud Events team and say, hey, look, we are trying to classify projects and explain to developers why they need to look into Cloud Events. And it would be great if we can get like the project blessing in some way, right? Like if they can validate this, contribute back with whatever they think that it's missing or whatever they think that it's useful for developers. And we can do that for distant projects. And I think that if we do that, then we will get kind of like some buy-in for these projects and try to understand how do they engage developers, right? Because this is mostly how do we think that they engage developers, but we need to ask them how do they see kind of like the developer persona being treated into their documentation, into their SDKs and all that stuff. Any comments? Because I strongly believe that going to GitHub now might be a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. I added a note on the meeting notes document. But anyway, so I suggested there to create separate pull request in GitHub. This is something we tried in the platforms working group with the platforms white paper. We created a separate pull request for each section and then made it really easy to review and comment and have a discussion. And then at the end, we created the actual final pull request with everything in it. But especially since we have to talk with different projects, different stakeholders, might help to have all these separate pull requests. Might seem a lot, but I think it will simplify very much the work. What do you think?
When you say like, yeah, perfect. How do you create like so basically, okay, so you create a file and then you create a pull request with different sections inside the file, right?
Yeah. So basically we targeted a folder with documents that never made it to the final repo. It was just temporary files. Then at the end, we just gathered everything in one single file. And then we assigned responsible people. So there was someone assigned on a task just to be, keep track of the progress. And we set up some deadlines.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I think that trying to copy what other working groups did, I think that like the white paper it was a pretty impressive amount of work and a lot of reviews went into that. So I think that if we can follow some of that, kind of makes sense. And I think that like
at least the parts about the projects, like the 10 different parts, I think that would make sense to have separate requests for each of them. And then maybe the rest could be in another one.
Sounds good.
So just clear, like from what I understood in the question I asked last time, like this working group is meant to be sort of a pull, or I guess a push model where like people are supposed to come to this working group to assess their readiness for graduation slash or whatever, just like assess their readiness to move on to the next stage. But it seems like what we're doing here is more of a pull model where we're taking different, like, I guess, projects and assessing them. What's the logic there? Like, why are we starting with why is that happening?
So if I can take that. So basically, I think that this working group is between projects and developers and consumers, right? But this working group is also inside the tag app delivery that is an advisory group. So we feel kind of like these gaps of advising, like the technical oversight committee here of CNCF, but also promoting these projects to different audiences. And one audience that is missing in the CNCF most of the time is that developer audience. So we're just trying to help promoting these projects to more developer-focused audiences, not specifically the CNCF, but maybe other groups, other communities.
Outside of a bureaucratic sort of organ of like a check mark, like, are there any services that are being offered to these projects? Like as an example, like, let's say that Cloud Events fails for whatever reasons, whatever. I'm just giving an example. Like, are there services that are available to these projects that would be a reason for them to come to this working group outside of just getting a box check? Or is it really just like a group that's focused on ensuring a bar, like holding a bar, and then you need to meet the bar. We don't help you figure out how to meet that bar.
I think that projects in general are independent, right? Like they know what they need to do. They need to meet kind of like the CNCF criteria. I don't think that, I mean, we are just only in that process, like as a check for advisory, but like that's pretty much it. I don't think that projects needs to come to this, to this working group. They can help this working group and then they can see the work that we are doing. But the work that we are doing is to promote all these projects, all the projects related to developer personas. But it's not
Right.
to, just to help any specific project in particular. We will be doing some, like user interviews and developer interviews and figuring out how much do they know about their projects. So I think that this working group will be helping the projects in that way, or providing that service of, this is what we're hearing from developers. Take this feedback and maybe do something with your documentation or with your getting started guys or something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, just because like in starting oh, sorry, Thomas, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, so maybe just to help clarify this. So yeah, I think there are two main things. So one is the reason for the existence of the working group itself, which is not the bureaucracy part, but it was born to give like developers a voice and to help developers navigate the cloud native landscape, because many times they're not the primary audience. So as a working group, then we started with this initiative here, like to categorize some of the CNCF projects that can target developers. So as a way to provide support to developers, maybe it's not even like as a support organ for projects, but it's more like helping developers then use projects in the CNCF when they're targeting developers. And then since we are part of a tag, it's the tag itself that has the responsibility of joining the process about let's say hearing or evaluating a request for joining as a CNCF sandbox project or incubating or graduation. But so the working groups don't need to exist as part of the process. It's just that since we have now a working group that is dedicated to developers within the tag app delivery, this is the best place to also give maybe some feedback or some advice when it's a tool that is about application development. But it's the tag itself, like before this working group, those tools, those projects were presented in the context, in the meetings of the tag app delivery. So it's just that, just like when the platforms working group was created, then that became the place to discuss more platform engineering topics. And right now they're also setting up an infrastructure working group. So it's just a better way to provide more targeted and even maybe more useful feedback, because it's a group with the intended audience for that project. So
gotcha. Okay.
It just happens that, yeah, we enter that process because we're part of tag, but it's not our primary job. Like
okay.
with
All
this
right,
deliverable,
gotcha. So, like,
we're gonna have more deliverables. Yeah, does that make sense?
Okay, so Yeah, like the box checking is actually happening a level above us. That's not what this group is focused on. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I'm like spinning up on this group and also the CNCF structure at the same time because I've
No
taken a bit
problem.
of time away. Yeah. So what are the next like things that we sort of need to get done to start the ball rolling? Like how do we like what do we think that are sort of most impactful next things we can do are here?
So just to start, like this document is one of the things, and then the validation of these with the projects. I think that that's part of the cycle. But the other
Mhm.
thing that we are just aiming to do by KubeCon dates is like doing a survey, right? So down here, and I think that Omer, maybe you can take a look at this and just provide
Yeah.
feedback, because this is kind of like what we want to ask developers, right? We want to ask like, what's your role in the cloud native application development? And then which languages do you use? And then how familiar are you with these tools that we are mentioning? We want to
Okay.
actually get some hard data for then deciding what the next steps of these groups are, right? Maybe nobody knows
Gotcha.
about the projects, and then we need to spend more time like just talking about the projects, or maybe everybody knows these projects, and then we need to spend more time maybe unifying how they do certain things, or promoting that these projects talk to each other to solve common use cases and stuff like that.
Okay, I can take a look at the survey and like assess it for bias and clarity. And maybe we just go from there.
Add questions if you think that there are like other relevant questions that you would ask. Please add comments or whatever you feel. I've already raised with the tag app delivery. I raised the question if there is any official tool for creating surveys for CNCF. So as soon as we have that, then we probably need to have this somewhere, like maybe like a separate document that we can share with the tag, and then ask for feedback about what they think about this, because I'm pretty sure that we can just not send a random survey that we created to thousands and thousands of people.
That's a good idea.
Okay,
Thomas,
great. I'll take. Sorry, I'm just gonna leave in like a minute here because I have a meeting at 30. But what I'll take as an action item is like I'll take a look over this survey and the document, and maybe like leave some comments there. And then I guess like Mauricio, if you want to do also some qualitative like interviews, we can do that as well. That might look different than the survey. But we might want to like reach out to like 5 or 6 developers once we have sort of these survey results to like spot check what we see in the data versus what we're seeing in like individual cases. So I'll take that as an action item, and I'll maybe return like this happens every 2 weeks at the same time. Yeah.
So this is the first and third Wednesday, right? Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'll come back maybe in the next 2 weeks. And if there's any other ways that like Mauricio, you see me slotting in, just like let me know.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to help.
100%. Great. Thank you for joining, man.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
inviting
Bye.
me. Take care.
So yes, Thomas, what I was going to say, like you proposed the multiple pull request stuff. Do you want to get started? Do you want me to help on that? Because I'm
yeah, I can do that.
I can...
Do we want to close, like clean up all the comments before we do that? Or maybe start with the ones without comments?
Yeah, I think we should clean up first.
So
we should.
Should there be one pull request for the basic structure that you, Mauricio, laid out in the first comment?
No, I think that what Thomas is suggesting is like just a separate pull request for different sections, which I think it kind of makes sense. So we create different files for each section, and then we just send a pull request.
Just for so the question is it just for the projects? Because there I think it makes sense to have the review on the project level, like cloud events and so on and so forth. And kind of the outer structure is something that I think it's fair if we make a first proposal for the sections that you mentioned, like development activities.
Yeah, I think that like yes, I think that like Thomas was suggesting kind of like a pull request per section, which I don't disagree with, because believe me, then you will get a lot of comments, and then if you have a single pull request for all these things, then it becomes really impractical. It gets quite out of control.
Okay, got it.
Is that kind of like what you're suggesting, Thomas? I just want to validate.
Yeah. Yeah, at least to help us, like we create the pull request, and then we'll see how it goes with the comments and reviews.
Yeah, so
about the cleaning up, should we set like I don't know, a deadline to clean up all the comments here? Maybe it could be next week, and then we move everything to GitHub, and then we continue all the conversation and comments there.
Yeah, that works for me. Yeah, I'm gonna revisit and then I'm gonna actually clean up whatever I actually raised the comment first.
Exactly. So if you raise the comment and you think that it's already resolved, close it. If not, leave it open and we'll just have a discussion there until it's like until we agree that we can close it.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
But let's aim to get the pull requests before the next meeting, so at least we can start.
Yeah. So should we say next Wednesday, Wednesday next week is the last day to clean up comments, and then if there's still some standing comment, then we continue the conversation on GitHub, just so that we
Perfect. And then I think that the next ask is to figure out if we have contacts into these groups, right? If we know someone from a project that we can reach out directly, because I think that what we will need to do is draft some kind of email or like an issue, so we can go to the repository, create an issue, and then just put the link to our GitHub repository, right? Where we were explaining something like, we are this working group, we are working on this, and this is the space where we are talking about your project. Can you provide feedback? Something like that. I think that we need something just to write something for just basically communicating with each of the separate projects, but also like listing if we know someone in that project that we can ping or mention in these issues or emails. It's like we need to do just some kind of research about each project and what's the best way to get in touch with them.
Maybe something can suggest here is, if you know you have a contact with one of the projects, maybe you can leave a comment on the project title in the document. So when we create the pull request, then maybe we can assign it to you. And if you don't have contacts, it's fine. Like we can.
Yeah, we can go to the GitHub repo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next to contents for each project. Yeah, perfect. Okay, that's good. I think that if we do that, folks, that would be huge progress, in my opinion. Like, because again, this will become a way for us to reach out to other people, to validate what we are doing, and then just make some more visible outcomes based on each project feedback, which is, I think that it will give the document and the classification criteria kind of like a lot of validation. Let me add here reaping from the CNCF. Yeah, I think that's important. So, great. Any other things, folks, that you want to discuss in this meeting?
Yeah, so I have created this suggestion on GitHub. I'm sharing the link in the chat.
Let's do it.
Yeah, because I saw a point in the agenda about future ideas in the working group, like more deliverables, more projects. I think in the past few weeks we've been talking about different things that we could do in the future. So that's just a suggestion to perhaps use GitHub to keep track of that. So if you have an idea, like my suggestion would be to create a GitHub issue there. We can apply the label for the working group, and we can have an initial discussion about the high-level requirements or what is the desired outcome. And then we can start the work in other places. It could be Slack, on these calls, on a Google document, but at least we keep track at the high level of the work in GitHub, just to have an overview of all the different initiatives. Thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. So just to clarify, what you're suggesting is for all the projects that are not included right now, you should create some kind of like comment in that issue or some document somewhere just to track that, right? Or like an issue in GitHub.
No. For this one, I was thinking more about, let's see, I can't think of any other ideas we talked about in the past meetings. But let's say
okay, so
we want a
deliverable
deliverable idea. Yeah, so if
Okay,
you have
okay,
idea,
perfect.
oh, I'd like to have, I don't know, write a white paper about this development aspect, or maybe we could do this other document or this new survey or whatever, then people can just create a GitHub issue there and we can talk about them in a future meeting. Just to
Makes
keep,
sense.
because we discussed ideas sometimes in the Google document or in Slack, but it's just to keep track, and then we can act on it and see also if more people are interested. I think it's easier then to gather interested people and create subgroups or more, focused initiatives if there's enough interest.
Makes sense. My suggestion would be to put it on a Slack too, right? For people that didn't join this meeting, so they know that they need to go there for new ideas.
Yeah, I can share that a message there. Yeah.
Great.
So
great,
I
great.
really like that. That idea with GitHub issue. I would even expand it towards what you said, Mauricio, around ideas for new projects that we might take a look at. And maybe I don't know how this is handled from a organizational perspective, but maybe we can also get a dedicated project board for that on GitHub to have a more structured overview of what is new, what is currently in process, what maybe we say or you say could be postponed, or I don't know what. And I think this GitHub projects stuff is there quite useful instead of just having a list of issues with tags.
Yeah, we can create a project board on GitHub. I think we just need to double. I mean, we can, but we just need to coordinate with the overall tag. Just make sure it's fine that we do that. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, we can raise that too. I think that's important. I really like the idea again, like because at the beginning we decided to go just with this filter, but the idea of expanding for more projects and even looking projects outside the CNCF about what's happening in the application development space is definitely something that will come up later this year. So yeah, I would love to keep tracking all these ideas and all these other projects that we should be looking into. Just to not to lose track of what's going on. Good stuff, folks. I am happy. Any other topics that we want to discuss today, or is this okay for now?
It's good for me.
Good. Next Wednesday, so for comments on the document, and then we start creating pull requests. We will probably coordinate over Slack. We'll create a pull request and then ask people for feedback there.
That'd be good.
Okay.
Great.
That's good, folks.
Yeah. Have a good day, and thanks for joining.
Have a good day, folks.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Hello. Cheers.